And we're back to another coding project. Let me show you how you can recreate this cube rotation. It's actually a cube, while when you focus on the wrong side, you may see a transformed cube shape, but it is a cube. Just wait a little bit and the animation will guide you to this cube design. We'll do it from scratch, so all I want is this simple boilerplate. We'll start with doc type declaration, HTML language, head with meta and the responsiveness. Style for CSS, we'll add that later. The body for our cube that we're going to create using div containers. And this part is fairly easy. I've created a div container for the general cube and then div containers for each side. The cube has 6, so we need 6 in total. They all have the same class, which is face, and then I add a specific class for each. For example, front for the first, back for the second, and so forth. We need right, left, top, bottom. So now we have 6. They're all nested inside of the cube div. And that's already it for the HTML part. And now we need CSS. It's basic at first, but then we need an animation. If you're new to this, I might do a detailed tutorial on animation using CSS. If you're interested, let me know in the comments below. I'll put it on my to-do list, and if the response is big enough, I'll make that earlier. Currently, I'm a little bit busy doing Midjourney, but if a lot of people want it, I consider giving that a higher priority. Well, let us get back to our project here. At first we'll reset margin and padding, set the height to 100%, display flex, put everything in center, set the perspective. This is just to have whatever content we put in the body be in center and fit our browser window, and reset it when it comes to margin and padding. And now we'll access our classes. We have 2 bigger ones and then the specific class for each side. Let's start with the cube, which is the outer one. We'll find a width of 200 times 200. Position is relative. Use a transform style, call it preserve 3D, which is going to give us this effect that we want. And we'll have to add an animation. Its rotation, 5 seconds, determines the speed, and it's linear and infinite, so it's going to get looped. And there is no exponential acceleration or break in it, it's just a linear animation. Now we'll select the face class, set the position to absolute. This is going to target all of our nested classes. They all have the face class. They are all as big as our cube. And this is going to be our first iteration. It's going to look a little bit different, but this is going to make it clear why this has the same size as our entire cube design. We'll use RGBA. A is the alpha channel, but I have a 0 too many here. Let me get rid of it. And we'll add a border. Set the display to flex and yet again put it in center. I'll just copy this part. I haven't added anything as a font, but you could add something into the div containers right here if you wanted that. I've added a font size. Now we'll select all of these faces, the 6 in total, one by one, and add a transform. I want to use the Z transform for the translation, just the Z axis. And for everything but the front, we'll add a rotate also. Let me make it a Y. Let me copy this. We need it 4 more times, and then I'll adjust the values. I've got it prepared, so let me copy paste this. Play it around with the values, and this is what looks best, at least for my perspective. So you may want to use the same, but you can obviously play around and use a different axis or a different value. Now we'll set up the animation. We need keyframes. We've used the rotate. And here we want to go from 0 to 360. And this already works. It looks a little bit different than the cube that I've shown you in the introduction, but for our first iteration this makes clear that every face is as big as our cube, and it's getting rotated right now only in one axis. So in this case it's around the Y axis. In our second try we can keep most of this, we can keep the body, we can also keep a cube, but let me make this 10 seconds, which is going to slow it down a little bit. We can keep the face, that's good. As I've said, I could get rid of font size, font weight. It's up to you if you want to write something on your cube. We can keep all of these transform, rotate X, rotate Y, translate Z for our face sides. But we'll have to adjust our keyframes, rotate, because now we want to add second and third dimension to it. So we need rotate X 0 degrees, rotate Y 0 degrees, and rotate Z 0 degrees, and then I make it 360 for 2. And now you can see this rotates in all 3 dimensions. Well, let me make this 180. it adds a little bit of randomness to it, because now one dimension only gets rotated up to half, and this makes it look a little bit more random. In our final iteration, we will change the colors and have this end result that I've introduced. At first, we'll go to the body and HTML selector and change the background color to black. That's fine, but we can't see the ones in the background. Because of the faces, they have a fill color. We need to fix that. First, let us give the cube a border and make it transparent, because I ran into an issue and there was a middle side still showing, so I had to make this transparent. Maybe we can delete it afterwards, but I thought it would be a good idea to add it. As I said, it solved my problem. But we will check in the end. Our face needs a border and is the actual color. If I make it red, for example, you can see that right here. And I've used hashtag 0FF to have this neon bluish turquoise color. Just to try it, let me get rid of the border here and I'll check it again. And it actually seems fine, so it doesn't change anything. So we might be able to get rid of this using this browser window size. But if you run into an issue with the design, add this code line to the .cube class. And here we can set the fill color for our faces. As I've said, for now we can only see the lines that are in front and not the ones in the back. But if I set this to transparent, we can see all of them. At first it looks like a transformed cube, but when you look at the animation long enough, there you go. It becomes a regular 3D cube, and we can even see the lines that are currently behind in the animation. Let me once again get rid of this code line and check it. And it still looks fine. So you don't necessarily have to add this, it seems. So let me leave it out. I'll save this code and put it into my Dropbox folder. You can find it using the link in the description below, and then just copy paste it, compare your own code. You can use this code in any way you want. No need to ask, just take it. And I hope that this tutorial has helped you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.